Now we're going to take a look at how we're actually going to process the Stripe payment. And in order for us to do that, we need to understand how this is going to work. And we're going to use something called payment intents. Payment intents guides you through a process of collecting payment information through the customer. And then we use that payment intent object to process the actual payment. So we're going to give this object to an endpoint, and it's going to push and publish a payment for us. Now, how is that going to work? Well, if we go over to our index of the payment, we have our Stripe client over here as the third parameter. And what we want to do with that Stripe client is we want to call a function on it. We want to call Stripe client dot payment intent. And then we're going to say create one. And what we're going to do with that creation is we're going to give it the amount. We're going to say that you're going to process this in the currency USD. And then we're going to say the payment method types are card. So we're going to give it an array, and we're going to say the payment method types are card. And then we're going to say that the payment method data is of type card. We're going to say that the card is our token. And by doing this, now, well, we first of all, we need to grab our token, const token amount and name off of body. And then we'll delete the rest of this to not muddy up everything. So let's do that. So now we have our token and we filled in our card into our payment intent. And then at the end of this chain, we're going to say confirm true. That'll process the payment for us. And with all of this, now, well, where does our name come into play? What do we use that for? Actually, the name isn't important right here. We don't need to use it right now. The name is linked to the token. The name was linked when we created the token. That's why we had to pass our name in to the credit card field to create that token, right? That's why we utilized this credit card input and gave it the name here. So all of the information is actually linked inside of this token. Okay, so if this is our payment intent, we can then say .then, and we can say payment intent, because that is what will be returned to us. And we'll say response.json of the payment intent. So that's what was returned to us in a case where it succeeds. And then we'll catch an error. And in the case of an error, we'll say console.log the error. And then in this case, send response.status 400 and send the response.send of something went wrong with your payment. Now we could bubble the error up. That's potentially a best practice to do here. You could do .e. We're going to override this in the UI anyways. It's always best to send the error back with the response. We could leave the console log or we could take it away. But in this case, what we're seeing here is, and let's break it down, right? Because this is a lot of code. A payment intent is a way for us to tell Stripe, hey, we have a token from a credit card and we want to do a payment. So we're going to go through payment intents, which is the intent to pay. We're going to create one. We're going to create this payment intent. We're going to give you the amount for which we want to do a payment. We're going to give you the currency in which we're going to process this payment. We're going to tell you what type of payment method we're using, or we support in this case. We only support credit cards. We're going to force this for this endpoint. You can only pay with credit card. And then we're going to say the payment method data is of type credit card. And we're going to give you our token that we generated from the credit card. Okay. So by doing all of this, will I be able to look at a payment all the way through to my UI? Well, let's take a look at that. If we reload over here, right now, if we do an order and we say new order, right? Let's just give the person the name new order. It's not like this is a real order. And we fill in the information for the credit card and we hit pay. Now we're beginning the execution of pay and we finished it. So what's going to happen here? Well, if we go over here, we go into payments. New order. He showed up. He paid. Awesome. Wow. Risk evaluation level 3. So it was a successful payment. The payment started at 1042, ended at 1042. It was for $12.99 USD, which is equivalent to 16 Canadian, which is what my account is set up in. So it tells me what I have gained. It tells me the origin was from the United States because we haven't filled in the origin information. There are no risk insights. It tells me where it was made from. And it tells me all of the information about this payment. Amazing, amazing, amazing. We've just done a complete end-to-end payment. And now we can see our payments show up here. If I said new order 2 and I paid again, well, what you're going to see is in payments, if I refresh here, new order 2 should show up. Now, it isn't. Why isn't it? Let's try this again. New order 2. It's because I need to make sure that all of this information is filled in correctly. And there we go. Beginning execution of pay, finished. And if we go refresh here, we should see that show up. There we go. New order 2. So now that we're able to process end-to-end payments, well, our UI really isn't responding to this at all, is it? It isn't telling us, hey, you succeeded. Hey, you failed. Something went wrong. Something went right. It really, nothing's happening. And so we need to improve on that. So let's go look at how we can do that.